to the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting of October 7th, 2020. My name is Demetrius Pousalides. I am the Vice Chair of the board, and I will be chairing this meeting today. To my immediate right on the board is Robert Souls. To his immediate right, Tia Cernova. To my immediate left, our Secretary Richard Beck. To his immediate left, Jeff Sutton. And then to his immediate left, Tom Farrar, our zoning director. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Cernova?
Here.
Mr. Sutton?
Here.
Mr. Souls?
Here.
Mr. Beck?
Here.
Mr. Pousalides?
Here.
And Mr. Reichel is absent.
Okay, we have our agenda today. If there are any changes to the agenda?
No.
No, sir.
We have a statement of duties. I'm not going to read them up there out in the back. If you'd like to read them. We do have minutes to be approved from our September 2nd, 2020 meeting. Can I have a motion?
I so move.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Ms. Cernova?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes.
Mr. Souls?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Abstain.
And Mr. Pousalides?
Yes. Okay, we have new business today. We have two appeals, 13-12-20 and 13-13-20. The fire department did issue a memo on both appeals, and they have no recommendations regarding either appeal. Our first appeal is 13-20-1312, appeal number 1312-20. Applicant owner Patrick and Amy Hellman, 1033 Dell Circle Northwest, North Canton, Ohio, 44720, are requesting a variance to construct a 12-foot by 16-foot, 624 square foot front two-story addition to the existing garage structure, parcel number 5500379, section, the applicable section 702.3, minimum lot and yard requirements of our zoning code, 21-foot front yard setback, 35 feet required, 14 feet variance requested. The property is zoned R1 single family residential district and is located in the northeast quarter of section 14. Do we have the applicant here? Okay, you're going to come on up, both of you. And I'm going to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information you're about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like for both of you to state your names and your address.
Sir, can we get them to sign in as
And
well?
sign in. Thank you.
My name is Patrick Hellman. My address is 1033 Dell Circle Northwest, North Canton, Ohio.
And I'm Amy Glick-Helmet, and my address is also 1033 Dell Circle Northwest in North Canton.
Folks, while we're waiting, if you're going to speak tonight, we're going to need you to sign in to this sheet. Thank you. That'll save this time.
You go ahead and proceed.
Patrick asked me to speak tonight, so we're asking for permission to add on to our home in the front. Our lot is pie-shaped, and really the only practical side to add on to the home is out the front, in effect extending the garage. The plan is to extend the garage on the lower level, which will provide extra storage space for our family, which is growing. And also on the second level, to make one large room that will serve as a music room. I'm a professional musician, music is important to our family. Right now, we're having a hard time finding space for the instruments that the kids play. We moved here 5 years ago, our oldest was 12, now he's 17, we have 4 children. Everything's bigger. Instruments are bigger, kids are bigger. We need another refrigerator. So that's, you want to add anything else, Patrick?
Just in the back is our septic, so we can't go in the back. And both the sides are not practical.
There's a steep slope on one side with a lot of landscaping and a well, and on the other side, it's even closer to the property line in the front. So those are the problems that we ran into in the addition.
Anything else?
That's all we have. We have our contractor with us tonight. If you want a statement from him.
Anyone else want to speak in favor of this appeal? You want your contractor to speak?
Do you have anything to add?
It's okay, you can whatever.
Anyone to speak against the appeal? Okay, questions from the board?
So this is going out the front towards the road? It's hard to tell from the drawings.
It's on a cul-de-sac, and so it's going toward the cul-de-sac. It will shorten the length of the driveway.
Okay, so you shorten the length of the driveway, and you looked at all the other possibilities in terms of constructing on each side of the home, and I think you've indicated the slope and all the other made it really kind of difficult to
We
do.
did, and initially, we looked at building off the one side, but the size of the room was gonna be too small for what we were hoping for. Plus, this way we get 2 stories, and that would have just given us 1 level.
The other side, you had septic issues where your septic,
In the back
which one's
side
it?
of the home is
Okay.
a septic.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I'll make a motion. Appeal number 1312-20, applicant and owner Patrick and Amy Helmuth, 1033 Dell Circle Northwest, North Canton, are requesting a variance to construct a 12-foot by 16-foot, 624 square foot front 2-story addition to the existing garage structure. That's at parcel 55-00379. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the request. That is a 21-foot front yard setback, 35 feet is required, 14 feet variance is requested.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I would just say, based upon the testimony that was presented, I would be in favor of granting this appeal. It looks like they evaluated all the options on either side of the home in order to try to meet our zoning requirements, but weren't able to do so, and demonstrated the requisite practical difficulties, which I always look for when granting variances of this nature. So I would be in favor.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes.
Mr. Solls?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes.
And Mr. Porcelli?
Yes. Your appeal's been granted.
Good luck.
Talk to
Thank you so much.
Call the office tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, our next appeal is appeal number 1313-20, applicant owner Chad and Melanie Loveless, 3676 Overhill Drive Northwest, Canton, Ohio, 44718, are requesting a variance to build a 5-foot-high cable fence in the front yard to enclose the swimming pool installed on the property parcel number 52-06089, section 602.10, fences, walls, and hedges of our zoning code. Fences, walls, and hedges shall be permitted in any required yard or along the edge of any yard in any RR, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, or R6 residential district. except that a fence, wall, or hedge located in or along the sides or front edge of a front yard shall not exceed 3 feet in height. The property is zoned R1, single-family residential district, and is located in the southwest quarter of section 30. Okay, do we have the applicant here today? Is that a no?
I'll see him.
So we do a motion to dismiss it.
They were advised that they needed to be here.
See if there's anyone presented, if they're in favor of it, then against it.
All right, is anyone here in favor, that can present evidence in favor of this appeal? And
We're all here against it, I believe.
So there's, I didn't see anybody say that they would speak in favor of it. Is anyone against this appeal? Okay, who wants to come up first? Well, let's do this, we're gonna swear everybody in. Everybody raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information you're about to present is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
I know.
Thank you. And then whoever wants to come up, just come on up.
You seem prepared.
And sir, please, you've signed in. correct?
I did in the back.
And then please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Alan Harold, 3625 Darlington Northwest. And I'm here in my capacity as president of the Avondale Community Improvement Association. And again, I know that the board's decision here today and its marriage to the deed restrictions that we have in our neighborhood are independent of each other. But nonetheless, I'd like to submit for the board's consideration a copy of our deed restrictions and highlight the pertinent parts, number 10 of the deed restrictions. No fence or railing unless it's a shrubbery hedge shall be more than 40 inches in height in front of the front building line hereby established. And the plans as presented to the township call for the fence to be nearer to the front property line and beyond the front building line, and on that reason this board would, my board would strenuously object. Number 11 states that after the effective date of the deed restrictions, which is 6th of September 2006, that no building, fence, or wall or other structure may be erected or placed until the plans, elevation, location, height, materials, grade thereof have been submitted to the association and approved in writing. There has been nothing submitted to the board on this project, and if it were, the board would object in the manner and deny the request in the manner that it's been presented to the township. So can I submit this to Tom? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, and that's all I have, unless you had any questions for me.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Is there, thank you very much. Who else would like to speak against this appeal? Good evening. You signed in, of course.
I signed in.
Please state your name and address, please.
My name is Walter Saduk. I live at 3687 Overhill. My property is right across the street from this new fence. And I'm against it because it's already an eyesore, and all he's going to do is just go up higher and higher, closer to the road. But my main purpose for coming here tonight is he has built a stone wall or whatever of big rocks along the street. Yesterday when I was leaving the house, it was about 7:30 at night. There was a family coming down the street. They had their little carriage with the baby in it, and 2 little kids, the mother and the father. So I was heading north, the other car was heading south. Right now, the width of that street is so narrow because, and these people couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't take their carriage on the rocks. So anybody who knows Avondale, people are walking there all the time. Cars are going up and down the street. And now I think somebody's going to get hit because it used to be they could duck, they could jump off the street, but now they can't do this. Because have you ever tried to walk on rocks? It's hard to do. But Nobody cares. Anyhow, my whole concern is the safety, and I don't think that the situation there right now is very safe. If two trucks come past each other, they can't get past each other now, because he's encroached as far as possible onto the road, and nothing's been done about that. So, that's my point.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak against this appeal? I assume you have signed in?
You sign up.
Did you sign in?
Yes, I
Okay, can you just state your name?
My name is James Baker. I live at 3650 Overville Drive Northwest. I live directly next door to the individual we're discussing here today. I have several things I'd like to say about it. I would agree with the gentleman that they have created an eyesore. Basically, as you go up the street, you're looking at his house. It's a 10 to 12 foot high berm when nothing but rock on it. Okay? Totally counterproductive. As you read through the petition that he submitted to you, I'd like to say that most of it is blatantly false. There's nothing that looks nice unless you're inside the hole. That's the best term we can do it. We call it the pit, because it's just a giant berm that surrounds that half of the property and goes directly down into it. If you look at the schematic he presented up there, it consists of two basically lots. Lot 384 and lot 385. What's missing in this design is the great big pond that basically fills the entire section of lot 385. That is where the pond is. What he's requesting is a fence that he says he has to do for insurance purposes of 5 feet tall around the property. I see no reason for it to be around the property, because the requirement, as stated in his letter, for insurance purposes around the swimming pool. Right? So, if there is no choice, and I would prefer nothing be done here and be totally denied, then it has to be in 305 or 385. 384, there's nothing there. So why put a fence? The property line from the back of my house to his property is approximately 20 feet. If he installs the fence he's talking about, the first pole will be 20 feet away from the corner of my house, basically the distance from me to you. And it's going to have a light. Now, it's also about in the trials, you have that community. I don't need a light from him providing ambient light to me. So I am definitely discussing this.
I'm sorry, sir, can you just stop so that engine traffic moves? I can't hear it over
She
the
couldn't
engine
hear
of the
over
truck.
the,
The traffic.
Okay, I was just saying I adamantly refuse. Because I cannot agree to having someone throw something right on top of my property. It's not helping. And I don't find anything about it to be looking good. The only place he has put in all the fancy stuff he talks about is on top of and around this pit. And I have nothing else to say, except I hope you do not. Thank you.
Anyone else to speak against? I assume you
I
signed in.
did, yes.
Go ahead.
My name is Colby Steinbach. My husband and I live at 3720 Overhill Drive, Northwest, Canton 44718. So, in agreement with everybody else that's spoken, we are on the other side, adjacent neighbor to the property. We've only lived there a little over 2 years. So I believe we came in not fully understanding the scope of the project when we were buying the property. When we moved in, he had just started to clear out the woods that was there. We are also sharing an adjacent easement with him, which that we have, it's a fixer-upper, so we've been encompassed with everything else going on at the property, but we haven't gotten to the exterior yet, but I believe he's actually encroached upon the easement to the point that any kind of utility truck that would come in for the electrical power lines would have to come like completely onto our property. They wouldn't be using what would be the easement any longer. I understand this isn't the, what's in question necessarily tonight. We came just because we wanted to know more about the project. I think we missed kind of all this in the beginning when he was filing for permits and et cetera, things like that. I question the approval of permits, as with my other neighbors. The projects have not been completed, as he stated. We've witnessed underage workers over there, there haven't been professional companies. The magnitude and scope of this project is obscene, and it's been pieced together and not done in any kind of manner that I would expect, a property of that size and of that value to be taken care of. It's really astoundingly horrific in person, and I question that any of you have seen it or witnessed it. You're welcome to come to our upstairs bedroom. You can get a scope of the pit from a grand view. It is not, there is no good things going on in there even. It's really, really bad. And it's frightening because we plan to be in our home for a long time, and we want to know what it's doing to the value of our home and safety. I also know he's petitioning for a cable fence. I was understanding that any kind of swimming hole had to have a safety fence for children and pets. I think that may be what he was talking about with the insurance reasonings. So to me, a cable fence even wouldn't do that. And now he's just built a hill, which if a child or dog could climb the hill, it could then potentially be even more dangerous that they could fall in and drown. So that's a concern for my husband and I wanting to start a family also. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else to speak against the appeal? Questions from the board?
I have a question for anyone. Tell me, is it a swimming pool or a pit?
So he dug a hole.
It's a crater.
It's what they call,
Acre.
Mr. Souls, it's what they call a natural swimming pool. If you Google it, you can find it's lined, it's pumped, but it
Barely.
is right. Yeah, it's largely
There's
filled
still
by runoff there. So
which he blamed on us, but he's at the lowest point of the two hills, come to the lowest point in the neighborhood. So he at one point asked my husband and I to pitch in for the drainage. He wanted money from us. He told us we were responsible, quote, for it.
When they first moved in,
I'm sorry, I don't have your name,
it's
ma'am.
okay. So my name is Andrea, A-N-D-R-E-A, Baker, B-A-K-E-R. And when they first moved in, they cut out the majority of the trees in the yard, and they created the water issue themselves. The scope of this, I don't even want to call it a project. He could have built 3 brand new houses in the time that we have all lived with this. And so he created the mosquito hazard because he cut down trees to the point there was nothing soaking up the water. And from having lived next to him as long as we have, this has always been his master plan because he likes to tell you his grandiose schemes. And he put up a privacy fence between our yard and his. I personally believe that it's in the side yard. I think it goes past the front of his house. It does go past the front of our house by about 6 feet maybe. And his intention has always been to put up a metal and column fence to dress up the front of his yard, even before he built this crater. And he's calling it a swimming pool. I refuse to call it that. And to me, it's not even a pond, because I think that's something that does occur in nature. And there isn't anything natural about what this is. And I appreciate your time.
Can I speak again? Sure. I spent an hour with the Stark County Soil and Water Conservancy District or whatever, talking to, he's not a hydrologist, but he knows all about the rainfall and everything. And I asked him, I said, well, how's he going to fill this thing up with water? It's 0.9 acres. And he brought the maps out, and he said that Chad had come there and talked to him about it. And the hydrologist told him that there's not enough runoff to fill that hole, that it would stay filled. Because with the amount of evaporation and the amount of rainfall that we get, he's never going to be able to fill it. So it's totally illogical enough.
He has hoses running from his house 3 hoses running from his water lines to the house to try to speed up the filling. And the pump that you spoke about is actually plugged in with an extension cord to his post light in the front. So beyond safety, like I don't understand how any of it, none of it's permanent, like no water lines were dug or electricity was dug, anything like that.
But I started complaining about it 3 years ago, and I talked to Tom, and basically the answer I got was, look, it's his property, and he can do whatever he wants to do with it. But all of us are basically suffering. He totally disobeys the rules of the Avondale Association, and the rest of us are following the rules.
He couldn't wait to move into Avondale, but he thinks that none of the rules apply to him. He
Right.
thinks that he is above them all.
Why live in a
Avondale
neighborhood?
doesn't
Why
do
be a
anything about
neighbor? Move to the country.
You're only allowed to have, what, 3-month or 6-month projects in 3 years. Avondale hasn't done anything about it.
But they're trying.
Any other questions from the board?
Get back to the
I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I'll make a motion, appeal number 1313-20, applicant owner Chad and Melanie Lovelace, 3676 Overhill Drive, Northwest Canton, Ohio, are requesting a variance to build a 5-foot high cable fence in the front yard to enclose a swimming pool installed on the property, parcel 52-06089. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals to grant the request. That is under section 602.10, fences, walls, and hedges. Fences, walls, and hedges shall be permitted in any required yard or along the edge of any yard in any RR, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, or R6 residential district, except that a fence, wall, or hedge located in or along the side or front edge of a front yard shall not exceed 3 feet in height.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
The only discussion I would have on this is, obviously, the applicant's not here to present the appeal. The applicant did submit information in support of the appeal. I did hear the testimony from all the other neighbors. While I respect, the Avondale Community Homeowner Association declarations, unfortunately, as you pointed out, Mr. Harold, those are things we cannot take into account as we have to enforce the zoning resolution as written. And in this circumstance, the zoning resolution as written indicates that the fence should be 3 feet in height and not exceed 3 feet in height. And I haven't heard anything to change my mind as to why it shouldn't be kept that way. So I would be in favor of denying this appeal.
Note for the record, it's 6:28 PM and the applicant has not appeared. Any other comments?
I tend to also agree with the comment that was made that if it's for a pool, are they requesting putting the fence around their entire property? Why not just fence in the pool area from a safety perspective?
Yeah, we do have resolutions that specifically relate to the enclosure of a fence, enclosure of a pool by a fence, so.
Any other discussion? Take a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Sarva,
No.
Mr. Sutton,
No.
Mr. Souls,
No.
Mr. Beck,
No.
and Mr. Fossilides.
No. All right, the appeal has been denied. Thank you for coming tonight, really appreciate it. And we have a meeting that appears on November 4th.
Yes, we have 6 applications.
Okay, so we will see everybody on November 4th at 6 PM. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All right.
thank you,
So
thanks, guys.
Thank you. Our property there is that, we live one house towards one from.
I'd like to see so many people.
Yeah, we did.